Hello and welcome to the News9 Plus Show on the world's first news and current affairs OTT platform, News9 Plus. Today we are going to be talking about Bengaluru's water crisis. But more importantly, which are the other cities in India that face such a crisis? And joining me to discuss this are Mr. Diwan Singh, water conservationist, here with me in the studio, Sandeep Anirudhan, social activist from Bengaluru, and Dr. Sudhir Krishna, former Secretary, Urban Development. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus Show. Before we begin, we know about Bengaluru's water crisis, but what are the other cities that could face a similar crisis from Bengaluru, like Bengaluru?
Right. See, Bengaluru is still a much gifted city in terms of water.
Yes.
It has the precipitation is 970 mm.
Right.
Delhi, just think of it, the population is 2.54 crores.
Right.
And the precipitation is 600 mm.
Right.
Which is much less than required.
Yes.
So Delhi is more than 50% dependent on water imported from other states like Haryana, Punjab and UP.
Absolutely.
So we are on the brink of disaster in case these states revolt and they start demanding their due share. Because Delhi is taking extra more than its due share from the Yamuna.
Right.
From Ravi Vyas is taking a share which it doesn't deserve because that doesn't belong to it.
Right.
Similarly, Ganga doesn't belong to it. It doesn't deserve.
Right.
But by force, because it's being the capital city by its power. But these things don't work for long, high-handedness.
Right.
So Delhi is one such city that is on the brink of such collapse.
Right.
Which can be brought by water shortage.
Right.
And then our groundwater scenario is very poor.
Yes.
It's hard water in most of the city.
Right.
Ridge has some good water, but that's very low.
So Delhi is number one, according to you, on the list of cities at most risk of a water crisis. What are the other cities?
Jaipur is in Rajasthan, though that's again a semi-arid area.
Right.
So it's dependent on one dam, Ramgarh Dam, on Banganga River, and its groundwater levels also going down.
Right.
Because it doesn't have any such surplus source of water.
Right.
So it has to live within its existing sources.
Yes.
So those resources are not much, not much in comparison to what it needs. So Jaipur again face not so good future in terms of water.
Right.
Then Bathinda again, it's Punjab region, though they have 5 rivers, but again the irrigation needs are much higher than the water recharge in the soil. So in that sense they go negative. The overall water development is negative there.
Bathinda. And then you have Mumbai on the west coast.
Mumbai is an area which is again gifted with good amount of water resources. But again it's poor management. So it's all management basically.
Management, then Bengaluru, and finally you have Chennai, which is similar water crisis.
Chennai, just imagine they have 1400 mm of rainfall.
Right.
More than twice of Delhi.
Yes.
And much less population. Yet they are facing, it's all management. I mean, you can't blame nature on this.
So, Dr. Krishna, the point that Mr. Diwan Singh made, that you have cities that get a lot of rainfall, but because of water mismanagement, they are unable to meet the requirements of their thing. Tell us what's the crisis really? Is it a crisis of poor urban planning or water mismanagement, or it's just a combination of all of this?
And I would only like to supplement by saying that a lot of management efforts are required, planning and management both.
Right.
If you take the case of Bangalore as a case study, it's a very typical case study, Bangalore.
Yes.
And the thing is, there is a lot of water in Bangalore which is coming. It is not too less.
Right.
For example, Bangalore is getting, how much water Bangalore is getting? They are getting 1400 mld of water from Kaveri. And they say that they require 2600 mld of water, which is too much. Why 2600? Because they say we have 1.4 crore population and computed at 135 liters per capita per day. They are computing 2600. So much water nobody requires. I assure you that if I keep 135 liters of water for one person in a family of 4, and you keep 5,000, more than 500 liters of water in a day, you cannot consume unless you want to waste the water. So the actual requirement is less than 100 liters per capita. 90 liters is more than enough, which means that Bangalore requires only let us something like 1,200 liters of MLD of water, which it is getting. Right. In addition to that, you recycle at least 40% of water can be a very reasonable estimate for recycling for use in industry and construction and non-potable purposes like gardening and so on.
Yes.
And that should be available through the recycling of water.
Right.
So that at a gross level, many cities don't require water at a gross level.
Right.
But the issue is in distribution of them. The Bangalore is not able to distribute all the Kaveri water throughout the Bangalore.
Right.
It is a good part of the Bangalore, maybe 30% or 40%,
yes,
are covered by the Kaveri water supply network. And so they have borewells. Now, if the borewells are there,
yes,
then the borewell to be maintained.
absolutely.
Drilling of borewell is not the solution.
Right.
It is only immediately you have a problem, you get water. But within no time, the borewell will go dry if you do not recharge it.
Right.
So for recharging, we have rainwater harvesting structures. The rainwater harvesting structures as a national problem, they are not being maintained. They are being
Right.
constructed, but not being maintained. As a result of which, for first year they do help, but within the next year, every year you have to service it.
Right.
So I think it's a very, very big challenge which has not been discussed or debated adequately. The rainwater harvesting structures have to be revived and improved. Otherwise,
Right.
drilling borewell, there is limited water in the subsoil aquifer, and you go on drilling borewell, puncturing the earth and trying to suck out water. It's
Right.
not going to give water
It's not, yes, absolutely. And Sandeep, you're there on ground zero in Bengaluru in the middle of a water crisis of the likes that we've not seen in recent months. What is the number one problem according to you? Is it the fact that horrifying concretization of all of Bengaluru's lakes? Is it the fact that this is very unique topography of Bengaluru? The subsoil is so rocky, it doesn't hold water. What's the number one culprit according to you?
Surprisingly, Bengaluru has abundance of water. We
Right.
get close to 17, anywhere between 17 to 24 TMC of water through rainfall. We are
Right.
actually gifted, as
Yes.
an earlier speaker said. The problem is, our ancients
Yes.
had the wisdom to store it. We had 2,000 lakes.
Right.
Post-British, we have become like the British. We have become exploiters. We only
Right.
extract, we don't build.
Right.
When Kempegowda set up the city, Bengaluru as his capital, his mother's words of wisdom were build lakes, plant trees.
Yes.
That was wisdom of city planning of our ancients.
Right.
Our modern planning is destroy everything, extract everything, and make us impossible to live in.
Right. Absolutely. Yes.
This is the big shift that happened. Now, the bigger culprit is that, so we can theorize all we want. Technologically, theoretically, we know there is water, it's being mismanaged. We had our own water resource, which is more than what we take from Kaveri.
Yes.
But at the policy level, we shifted to depending on Kaveri, which just like Delhi depends on faraway sources of water. We need not have, but we did. And
Right.
as a consequence, we destroyed all of the lakes that we used to have in our neighborhoods.
Right.
And the wetlands, almost 20-30% of Bengaluru's wetlands, they're all gone. So we don't
Yes.
have a sponge to sink the water into the ground. Therefore,
Right.
the groundwater is drying up.
Right.
Worldwide, there is a revival of this idea of a sponge city. Like,
Yes.
I think China, they are planning sponge cities.
Right.
Now, shockingly, Bengaluru was a sponge city. It had
Yes.
2,000 lakes, it had wetlands. This was effectively a sponge city. We destroyed it.
Right.
And now we'll have to revive it back into a sponge city if we have to survive.
Very, very, very important point there. And,
That is not
yes.
the worst of it.
Right.
Let me just finish the last point. All of these ecological measures, planning, for instance, we need to have plans according to our resources and have master plans we don't have. Our ecology is destroyed, wetlands are destroyed, groundwater is mismanaged.
Yes.
Building construction happens illegally. 95% of our buildings are illegal.
Yes.
Almost all the layouts that are built are illegal. This is the consequence of all of this lawlessness.
Right.
Shockingly, preventive laws exist in
Right.
everything. For
Yes.
planning, we have 74th Amendment. We are supposed to have a planning authority called the Metropolitan Planning Committee, which has to master plan. It's not happening.
Right.
We have the wetland rules from 2000, under which all the wetlands were to be protected. It's not being done. We have the Groundwater Act from 1999, according
Yes.
to which permissions have to be taken for borewells. I think at least 5 lakh borewells have been drilled without permission, which
Right.
means it's complete lawlessness. From 2000, Bengaluru has been declared an overexploited zone for borewells,
Yes.
and it's a red zone, according to which not
Right.
a single permission can be granted for any commercial or personal use. Only public borewells can be allowed. But what we actually see on the grounds is there are tens
Yes.
and hundreds of
Absolutely. No.
commercial borewells, construction site borewells being drilled every day. The
Right.
law just looks away.
Absolutely. And
BBMP
yes.
and
Sandeep, I'm going to interrupt you
before
here.
the environment
We are
law,
running out of time.
all
I'm just
those
going
are
to bring in Ms. Diwan Singh. Diwan Singh ji, today is also World Water Day. And you know, our experts have given us the idea of what the crisis really is. It's pure mismanagement of water. There's abundant water and more. Give us 5 points you think the government of India must work on priority if we are to avoid Bengaluru-like situations across the country, in the cities that you mentioned. What are the 5 things the government needs to do in the years ahead?
The major thing that applies to most of the cities, particularly North India, or which have less rainfall,
yes,
is that you need to decide the carrying capacity of the city as per the available resources, particularly water.
Yes.
So Delhi is outrunning its carrying capacity much long ago. It has, as I told you, we are importing water from other states.
From all other states,
all other states which are heavily agriculture, they are themselves deficit of water.
Right.
So in this sense, we are sitting on a kind of a ticking bomb.
Right.
For water collapse, you can say.
Right.
Similarly, cities like Jaipur or those in Punjab or North India, every city needs to calculate its carrying capacity.
Carrying capacity of cities need to be calculated. That's number one.
Evaluates its natural resources, whatever it has, and accordingly decide its carrying capacity.
Right.
And then only go ahead with further urbanization expansion after seeing the, taking all the permissions.
Right.
Like, for example, Delhi does a very bad thing. The Delhi Jal Board, it gives permission. The project proponent will make arrangements of its own for water. We don't have water.
Right.
And this is how they approve its water scheme.
Yes.
Now, are you just a stamping authority?
Right.
So this is how the
So you need more vigilant water authorities. The government needs to be vigilant in areas that it needs to.
It's work of Delhi Jal Board. If it doesn't have water, it should not allow a project to go ahead.
Right.
But in Delhi, it's doing so since 1977.
Yes.
So that's why the city has turned into this condition.
Right.
So similarly, I think the Delhi model is being copied everywhere.
Yes.
Just like my friend said about in Bengaluru situation just now, almost 95% buildings are illegal.
Yes.
And everywhere you go, in Jaipur, real estate expansion is happening in a runaway mode.
Right. So you need to rein in the construction, the rampant.
What's the hurry to expand the city so badly?
Exactly.
Just calculate what you have and then go according to that.
Right.
Go in a slow and steady manner so that you can survive, you can sustain.
Right.
Since most of the cities we are going in this manner, the real estate lobby has its day, and the government is just watching or it's just allowing, it's closing its eyes to what's happening. And that's why these cities are going in such a crisis.
Yes.
And cities like Bengaluru or Chennai, these are well abundant, they are gifted with water.
Right.
And Mumbai, they don't need to.
Yes.
But then sure their governments are doing so badly.
Right, absolutely. So very important lessons there from Diwan Singh on what we need to do on the years ahead. Basically rein in the rampant construction lobbies, decide a carrying capacity for cities, and most importantly, manage water resources better. That's all we have this evening as we're talking about World Water Day. Our talking points on Bengaluru's water crisis, what it means for India's 6 vulnerable cities which could actually face problems like this. I'd like to thank Dr. Sudhir Krishna, Sandeep, and my friend Mr. Diwan Singh here in the studio. The Enforcement Directorate has arrested Delhi Chief Minister and Aam Aadmi Party leader Arvind Kejriwal in an excise policy linked money laundering case. Now, what exactly is the case against Kejriwal? Kejriwal is an accused in the liquor scam that relates to formulation and implementation of the Delhi Excise Policy 2021-22. This policy came into force in November 2021, but it was scrapped in July 2022. Now, the ED alleges the scam involves giving wholesale liquor licenses to private entities and kickbacks were received. They allege AAP leaders received kickbacks worth 100 crore rupees. From anti-corruption crusader to populist chief minister to corruption accused, Arvind Kejriwal's political arc is fascinating. His party comrades insist Kejriwal was and will remain Delhi's chief minister. Can he? Is he on sound legal ground? There is no legal provision that clearly addresses the question of whether chief ministers can continue in office if they are arrested unless convicted. While theoretically plausible, governing from detention presents logistical challenges. Joining me to discuss the implications of Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's arrest are my colleague Brajesh Pandey in the studio. Brajesh, welcome to the News9 Plus Show. I want to take you back to what you said a few months ago on Arvind Kejriwal when we were doing that evaluation of all the contenders against Prime Minister Modi in the 2024 elections. Let's just listen into that.
Arvind Kejriwal is viewed as a formidable contender to take Modi on.
BJP has been hitting out at opposition parties over issues like corruption charges, dynasty politics, and this is one area where Arvind Kejriwal has been able to outsmart everyone. You know, no dynasty baggage, no corruption charges. And this is the reason why Dhananjay Joshi of Cicero has given him as high as 8 out of 10. And Sanjay Kumar and Yashwant Deshmukh giving him 7 and 6 on public image.
No dynasty, no corruption charges. How have things changed for Arvind Kejriwal in the last 18 months, Brajesh?
Well, I think, you know, this liquor scam is something which the Aam Aadmi Party is not able to extricate itself out of it.
Right.
And, you know, there are 4 of their leaders now, along with Arvind Kejriwal, behind bars for this. You know, Manish Sisodia, his closest confidant, Satyendra Jain, Sanjay Singh, all very close and part of the inner coterie of Arvind Kejriwal, and now Arvind Kejriwal himself.
Right.
But, you know, Sandeep, even the risk of being kind of an outlier as far as this entire narrative which is going on, I would say that this still has not dented Aam Aadmi Party's image.
That was going to be my next question.
Because
right.
You know, if you look at the fact that there is in the last couple of years, whether you like it or not like it, the image of Enforcement Directorate has also taken a beating.
Yes.
There is a clear-cut case that, you know, that if you leave opposition party and join the ruling dispensation, then all of a sudden the heat on you lessens by, like, you know, less than half or like
and
almost
you're
zero.
basically put through a washing machine.
You're put through a washing machine, and then all of a sudden there is no ED, CBI, and there is, you know, truckload. There are memes gallows on social media talking about that.
Right.
The second thing is that Arvind Kejriwal is a product of guerrilla warfare of political you know, situation. He's not like he's a dynast. I still say he's not a dynast.
He's not a dynast.
He's one of those unique creature in the last 30 to 40 years, you know, where he just simply came out of vacuum and is lording over Delhi, is lording over Punjab, presence in Haryana. They want to contest election in Goa. So one of the, you know, fastest party to get a national ticket.
National party
so
status.
that is not, I personally don't feel that Arvind Kejriwal will be hit tremendously. What can happen though, for sure, is going by the track record of what happened to these 3 ministers, you know, Deputy Chief Minister and others. Arvind Kejriwal might have to spend some more time. But, and there's a very important but, will this arrest has the potential, I think the only question to ask now is, will this arrest has the potential to change the way 2024 election is going to be approached by Indy Alliance?
Right, absolutely. Important point there. And Advocate Attray joins us now. How is this going to impact Arvind Kejriwal, and can he remain Chief Minister if he is in prison? The Aam Aadmi Party says he will continue to be CM from behind bars. There's nothing in the constitution that prevents him from doing so. It seems to be a matter of propriety rather than legality. But can he rule from behind bars? We've never come across such a situation.
Yes. See, I think this is going to be first time that any chief minister is arrested and he is not resigning.
Right.
Recently, when Mr. Hemant Soren was arrested by ED,
yes,
he resigned just before his arrest. But in this situation, when he is not going to resign,
right,
see, in Constitution, definitely there is no provision which can debar him. In Representation of People's Act, if we say disqualification under Section 8 to 11A, these disqualifications apply only after conviction.
Right.
Maybe in corruption cases or in any other cases, there is a list of cases that if you are convicted. But as on today, only 1 day is passed. He is only FIR is there against him. He is being arrested in this ED case. Conviction will take around 2-3 years, and not before that. I don't think trial will conclude before that. But in the meantime, once he is not convicted, there is no provision in the law which can stop him to continue in his office. But the difficulty here is practically how he will continue from the jail. Whether he can be allowed telephone access from jail, whether he can be allowed cabinet meetings in the jail, or there may be so many implications whether all the officers, can he invite them in the jail, and from jail he can pass orders. Practical difficulties and executive difficulties also. But legally and constitutionally, under Representation of People's Act and under the Constitution, there is no provision that he cannot.
Yes.
And one more thing, since Delhi is a union territory, where no doubt with some special provisions. So Also, there may be possibilities that charge of Delhi can be taken over by the LG or by central government in this situation.
Right.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
these are secondary things.
Yeah.
But legally, in my opinion, I don't think there is any.
I'm just going to ask Manasvi this point that Advocate Atri raised, that there is nothing in the RPA that debars Mr. Kejriwal from continuing as Chief Minister from behind bars. What kind of a unique situation does this present for us here in Delhi?
See, if this happens, this would be post-independence the first kind of a case wherein the Chief Minister is running a sarkar from the bar. I think that is not going to go well with the people.
Right.
That will not go with the ethics of Aam Aadmi Party on which it was formed. In the initial formation days, Aam Aadmi Party, which acted on Arvind Kejriwal during the 2013 and 2013 when we remember, he was like a crusader against corruption. And he's a who was very vocal against all the corrupt politicians during that particular time.
Right.
I think this is mandate given to him right now by the BJP, wherein it is time for him to prove his innocence and time for him, which is coming as an entire circle, what he said 10 years ago, coming to him. And the plank is Arvind Kejriwal and corruption. 10 years ago, we could not even imagine that Arvind Kejriwal could be arrested today after 10 years as acting as a crusader with winning 67 seats and before that 26 seats, that he was a hope. He was a hope post-independence after Jayaprakash Narayan, someone coming into politics, someone who's going to change politics of our country. And today, it's completely a 360-degree turn. So this particular situation is going to be very interesting for the voters, for the democracy of our country, to see how do we mature out of it. So if he's going to run from, it's a hypothetical question as of now, but if he's running from behind the bar, I think that is not going to go well with his own supporters, voters, and also the loyal party members who had initiated the party in 2013.
Absolutely. Manasvi, I'm just going to bring in Brajesh. What are the unique problem that this presents, and what would be the contingency plans that, say, the government would have in place? Because you obviously can't allow a situation where the Chief Minister is running the government from behind bars. I mean, it's
that is not going to happen. Basically, see, what happens is that this is an attempt on part of the Aam Aadmi Party, when they did a survey across Delhi 4-5 months back, that whether would you want to Arvind Kejriwal to continue as Chief Minister even if he is arrested, because there's always a fear of his arrest lurking over their head, and they knew it that this day will come. So there was all they were prepared for this, and that is the reason why they have already had a proper story to back that up. That narrative has been put into action by Aam Aadmi Party, but I don't think this is feasible. Once he is arrested, once he's sent into judicial custody, then then there are norms of jail. It's not like you have a facility to until unless you are a completely different kind of set of a prisoner, and it'll be impossible to run the government from behind bars. And I think there are a couple of sections also which the LG is going to invoke and send a report to the president asking for the either summary dismissal of the Aam Aadmi Party government if they don't change the Chief Minister and get a new person appointed as the new Chief Minister, because number wise they are not they don't have any kind of problem per se, but the arrest of Arvind Kejriwal, I said presents a very unique sense of timing for both Aam Aadmi Party. It's like they're the cusp of history. Either this arrest can trigger and turn a sea of feelings for Arvind Kejriwal and help India Alliance, or Arvind Kejriwal goes behind bar for another year or so like Manish Sisodia. If that happens, then I think it's not a good situation for Aam Aadmi Party.
It's not a good situation for the Aam Aadmi Party, and this is the question that we are asking in this show. We're calling it apocalypse now. Is it too early to write the Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal off, or as Brajesh mentioned, would they actually bounce back stronger from this crisis? But I'd like to thank Advocate Adri and Manasvi and my colleague Brajesh for joining us this evening on this discussion on the Aam Aadmi Party and its future after Arvind Kejriwal's arrest.